if I'm talking to a homeowner and they're just getting started building a home, what are kind of the differences of, what services do y'all provide for them that that they can kind of choose through, and how do y'all feel about those?
I personally, if I was going to build a house, I would always do the pre-treat because I know it's protected. That's just me. I know that I'm going to get 100%. But if people don't want to do the Termidor treatment, pre-treat, then there's two other options they can have as far as protecting their investment. Termidor is actually a bait, and so they come up through the bath trap area, through an expansion joint that somebody decided to do an add-on at a later date. And so they hit that, they feed off of it, take it back to the colony elimination underground. So basically, is it good for another outbuilding on your property? Yes. Is it good for your neighbor if you have a neighbor that's within 10 to 15 feet? Yes. It's beneficial for structures around and homes around. And then, so that's basically on the pre-treats.
Okay, and this is the pre-treats. That's when we're making up the slab. We're going to get our concrete company to dig the beams, and they're ready for everything. They're fixing to lay the moisture barrier down, their 6 mil plastic, whatever they're using, make up the slab. Y'all come in right before that.
Correct. We treat the each of the beams, the inside of the beam, the walls of the beams, the exterior beam, the top, the plumbing entrances. Everything's treated.
Okay, so our next option, what we like to do is we like to get all of our rough ends done. So I want the electrician, the plumber, the HVAC contractor, structured wiring, whatever it is. I want them all to have all the holes drilled in the framing, have everything cleaned up, and then I'm ready for insulation.
Yeah, and borate treatments, are about half of what a termite treatment is. A pre-treatment is. So yes, borates are great. The state came out with them and mandated them as a method of a pre-treatment, but they're probably about, I'd say, 50% less effective.
Okay, so if we have an existing home that we're remodeling or something like that, and we're not going to go that invasive, or just one of our homes that we live in, whatever that is, that third treatment is kind of a post-completion treatment, right?
Correct.
So what's that look like?
Trenching all the dirt around the house. We're looking for a barrier all around. That we're going to fill up with Termidor. And then from there, we're looking for any concrete, bricks, anything of that nature. We're actually going to drill holes into that until we reach the subsoil. Once we reach the soil, we're then going to inject it with Termidor.
Okay. That's attempting to work the same way as a pre-treat. A little harder to get to, maybe not quite complete coverage because it's the barrier, but still a very effective form of termite treatment if you have a termite issue or didn't get the pre-treat.
Yeah. It's best if you do it after your landscaping or your sprinkler systems are put into place, because if we were to go in and do a perimeter treatment and then somebody goes in and puts in a sprinkler system and digs up that, you're disturbing that barrier.
A good termite treatment is protecting your house from pests underneath, just like a good roof is protecting your house from the rain coming through the ceiling,
That's exactly.
And these are important line items. So important that if you're going to get financing on a home, for the most part, there might be caveats somewhere, but for the most part, a termite treatment is required by your lender.
If you're doing anything in a city limits, it's a mandatory. You've got to have some sort. You've got to have a pre-treat, a borate treatment, or you got to have a baiting. And we hadn't even talked about baiting systems. No. But you got to have one of those in order to, I guess, get off your city permits or whatever. Some people, they want to think more eco-friendly.
Yeah.
And that was another thing that we didn't touch on, was there are now baiting systems that say the state of Texas allows, and there are those that are out where people say, I don't want all that chemical in my slab. Yeah. I don't want all that chemical around my house. So there's now baiting systems. There's about 3 out on the market. They're all very good baiting systems to move forward.
So we see it in the city permit level. We see it on the lenders. And I call you and say, hey, Sharisa, can I have the documentation on this home?
I need this form.
Yeah, exactly. When it comes down to it, for the most part, this is a required thing that we've got to look into. And so if it's and that's really where it comes up is, hey, you have to get termite treatment. And the person that, asks really, what am I getting the best for my money, or what do you suggest, or something like that, then your answer a minute ago was Termidor. If somebody's like, hey, I need to check that box, what's my least expensive option?
Yep.
Hey, we can come in and borate treat your house, do the bottom 2 foot, and it works well as well. So